All right, let's get right into it. In this explainer, we're going to break down a pretty specific cosmetic procedure, penile augmentation using what's called an autologous fat transfer. We'll cover what it is, how it works, and what to expect.
So, let's start with the big question right at the top. What exactly is penile fat grafting? Let's unpack the basics of this procedure and really understand what's involved.
Okay, so the official term you'll hear is autologous fat transfer. And that word autologous is the key here. It's just a fancy way of saying the tissue, in this case fat, comes from your own body. This harvested fat is then used to increase the girth or the circumference of the penis.
Now, this is super important, so let's be crystal clear about it from the get-go. The entire goal of this procedure is to create a fuller, thicker appearance. What it does not do is significantly increase length. Managing that expectation is absolutely crucial.
Okay, but what's the motivation here? Why would someone even consider this procedure in the first place? Let's get into the why behind it all.
You know, the reasons people look into this are actually pretty diverse. For some, it's a straightforward desire for more girth. For others, it might be about correcting an asymmetry that bothers them, or maybe even reversing some age-related volume loss. And of course, a huge driver for many is boosting self-confidence. Plus, some folks see it as a more natural alternative to using synthetic fillers or surgical implants.
All right, let's switch gears and get into the nitty-gritty. How does this whole thing actually work? We're going to break it down step by step.
It really boils down to three main steps. First up is harvesting. A small amount of fat is gently removed with liposuction from a place like the belly, love handles, or thighs. Step 2 is processing. This is so important. The fat that was just removed gets purified, usually by spinning it in a centrifuge, to get rid of all the extra stuff like oil and blood, leaving just the pure, healthy fat cells. And finally, injection. That purified fat is then carefully injected in tiny little bits. They call it a microdroplet technique, all the way around the shaft to get a smooth result.
So how much fat are we actually talking about here? Well, it's typically somewhere between 20 and 40 milliliters. To give you a better picture, that's only about 1.5 to maybe 3 tablespoons worth. Not a huge amount, really.
Now, this is probably the question on a lot of people's minds, and it is absolutely crucial. Where does the fat actually go? The injection is done in a very specific superficial layer, well above the deep tissues that are responsible for an erection. So the bottom line is, erectile function itself is typically not affected by this procedure.
Okay, like with any medical procedure, right, you've got your pros and your cons. So let's lay it all out there and take a really honest, balanced look at the benefits versus the potential risks.
So let's put these side by side. On the one hand, the benefits are pretty clear. You're using your own natural tissue, which often gives a softer, more natural feel. The procedure can also be repeated down the line if you want more enhancement. And hey, you get a little bit of body contouring where the fat was taken from. But on the flip side, you've got some common expected risks. Things like swelling, bruising, maybe some temporary firmness, or even some small lumps you can feel. And then there's the big one, partial fat resorption.
So after all that, what are the actual results? What can someone realistically expect? We're generally looking at an increase in girth of around 1 to 2 centimeters, sometimes a little more. It really depends on how well that transferred fat survives.
And that brings us back to that really key concept, fat reabsorption. You see, it's a totally natural part of this process. Your body is going to naturally absorb and get rid of some of those newly injected fat cells. On average, we're talking about 30 to 50% of the fat. That's why surgeons often plan for this, and it's also why sometimes a second session might be needed to get to the desired result.
Okay, so we've talked about the common stuff, but it's also really important to be aware of some of the less common but more serious risks. This can include things like fat necrosis, where some fat cells don't survive and form hard nodules. You could also get oil cysts. And like with any procedure involving incisions, there's always a risk of infection. And while it's very, very rare, a serious complication like vascular compromise is a possibility.
All right, so the procedure's done. Now what? Let's talk about recovery, because knowing what to expect afterwards is absolutely key for anyone thinking about this. So here's a rough timeline of what healing looks like. That first week, yeah, you're going to see a lot of swelling and bruising. That's totally normal. Then, by weeks 2 to 3, you can probably get back to most physical work, but definitely no heavy exercise. Now here's the big one. For a solid 4 to 6 weeks, all sexual activity is off limits. That's to protect those new, fragile fat grafts. Finally, you gotta be patient, because it's not until the 3 to 6 month mark that the final results really start to show.
Following these post-op instructions is, well, it's not optional. It's crucial for getting the best possible outcome. This means wearing a compression garment where the fat was taken from, but avoiding any tight clothing or friction on the penis itself. And this is interesting, you're told not to apply ice down there. But the most critical instruction is probably this one. Don't massage the area. You could damage the new cells. Just leave it alone unless your surgeon specifically tells you otherwise.
All right, we're in the home stretch. Let's look down the road a bit. What are the long-term results really like? And what should you realistically expect once all the healing is finally done?
This is maybe the most important part about the long-term outlook. Any fat cells that make it through that initial transfer process, they're there to stay. They become a living, integrated part of you. But, and this is a big but, they're still fat cells. That means if you gain a lot of weight down the road, they can grow. And if you lose a lot of weight, they can shrink, just like fat anywhere else on your body.
So, when all is said and done, what does the big picture look like? For most people, the goal is a fuller appearance that looks and feels natural, which, for many, leads to a real boost in self-confidence. It's also realistic to expect that there might be some minor irregularities that could need a small touch-up. And, like we said before, it's pretty common for people to have more than one session to really get to their optimal result.
And I think this quote from the source material really ties it all together perfectly. It says that fat grafting is considered one of the safest and most natural methods out there, with the key condition being when it's performed by an experienced surgeon. It really makes you think, doesn't it? For any individual, how do you weigh that promise of a natural result against the realities of the recovery and the potential risks involved? That seems to be the core question right there.